Hello folks, and welcome to another famous review video from Inflatable Stuff Authority. I'm Derek, and today we are going to be reviewing the Thurso Surf Waterwalker 132 right here. We'll go through all the ins and outs, the board features, what I thought of the board whenever I paddled it, and much more. Stay tuned. Who is the Waterwalker 132 for? Well, the Waterwalker 132 is the largest SUP in the Waterwalker series, and is a good all-around board for, I'd say, most paddlers. It's a good maneuverable board that I found trucked fairly well in the water and had a lot of interesting stuff, including the black electric pump right on top. We'll go through exactly how to use the board, how to fill it up, and go from there. This board can also be used for most paddling environments, so right off the top of my head I could think of small, medium, large lakes, coastal waters, as long as you know what you're doing and your paddle stroke is on point, and rivers as well. Like, we test this board in the river behind us here and it went pretty well. So here's our package over here. Now I'm just gonna show you how to set it up using the electric pump, because I know a lot of you folks are probably kind of interested in how you actually set this board up. So we're gonna show you.
As I mentioned, one of the things I really do like about the Waterwalker 132 is it actually comes with an electric pump. I'm all for paddleboard packages coming with electric pumps because honestly they're game changers. So they have it in this pouch over here. So just show you quickly how to kind of connect it. You want to first look for the inflate valve, which is to the left. So let's see if we can do this one-handed here. You want to line up. There's a little nub right there. Press it down. And then it just clicks in like that. And then for the cigarette lighter, that will be included in this little pouch over here, just FYI. There's a little thing over here. You open it and you attach like so. And this cigarette lighter goes right into your car. Okay, so we got the cigarette and the cigarette lighter here. Got it all hooked up. I like to usually keep the car on so that it doesn't drain the battery. Got it hooked up to the pump, and then there's the Waterwalker. So let's just connect this hose. Twist just like that. You'll see that there are 4 buttons here. There's PSI bar, so whichever you prefer. I usually do PSI. So you can set the PSI before you pump. So I usually, when I start out, usually about 14. I get the new board, but then I usually have it at about 15. This time I'll do it a little bit lower because I'm not really planning to use this board. It's just for demonstration purposes. So today we'll do 10, but if I was on the water, I'd definitely be doing 15. There you go. And now to start it, you just press this power button. There it goes. So as you can see, it's starting to fill up. As soon as it gets to a certain point where the board is fully filled up, this is always the cool part, then the second gear of the pump will hit. So this should be pretty soon here. You just see how it's unfolding. And there it is. This is a Thurso Surf Waterwalker 132 blown up in all its glory. So this board is 11 feet by 32 inches wide, 6 inches thick, and it is 25.3 pounds heavy, and it has 330 pounds maximum capacity. So we'll just do a quick little nose to tail of this board, show you what you get here. So this is the nose, so you can see it's a bit of a rounder nose. Has a front handle, just handy for guiding it in the water. Has a little action mount clip right here. Oh, I kind of wish it was an actual action mount and it wasn't just a camera mount, because you'd be able to put a lot more things on the board, and I actually do wish that they had more of them. This is the deck webbing. If you saw the Thurso Surf Expedition 150 video, you'd see that this deck webbing is a little more concise. It's a little bit closer together. So you can put small bags in here, dry bags, I usually like to have my water bottle stashed, but there's a lot of things, little coolers, etc. Get to the deck padding. I'll just show you the texture here. There's striped stamped deck padding. That's a little Thurso Surf logo. I found it to be pretty comfortable whenever I was standing on it. Mind you, I had surf booties on. You can see this is the handle. The bottom is neoprene and the top is nylon. I personally would prefer if this full handle was neoprene, as it does get a little bit hard on your hands after a little while, like 50 meters of walking or so. You can see it has 4 D-rings. They're not occupied by anything, but you can use them for a kayak conversion kit. You can use them for shoulder straps, etc. Next, you have these paddle holders on each side, which are one of my favorite things about this board, just because it's nice to be able to strap your paddle onto the side of the board, especially when you're carrying it, actually, because a lot of times you have either the paddle in one hand and the board in the other, or you're trying to stash the paddle in the bungees and it's kind of flopping around everywhere. And now you see this is where the deck padding kind of changes. So it goes from sort of the striped to the diamond grooved. Now in my experience, the diamond groove deck padding is a lot more grippy. So there's a reason why they have it at the back. It's for when you do more advanced maneuvers such as pivot turns, etc. You'll have that extra grip. You have the cool little logo. I do like the look of this board. It's a beautiful board. You have the rear deck bungees. So this is for smaller items. I usually like to have like a speaker or something on the back. It's kind of nice. You could also do a little cooler. There's a D-ring for the leash, and then the rear handle. So these are the accessories that come with the package, plus the electric pump, which I just showed in previous clips. So it comes with a carbon hybrid paddle, a little pouch with contents, which I'll show you in a sec. And then finally the bag. We'll go through them one by one here. So this is the bag. So this is a pretty lightweight bag, actually. You can see there's a front pocket here. You can see just right in there. Put leashes in there. Odds and ends. You could probably even put a PFD in there, actually, if it's small enough. It also has some extra little buckles here to keep the package tight. So the back of the board. That board over there is the Thurso Surf Expedition 150. It's just doing filming on it. So the bags are actually very similar between both packages. This bag only opens up 2/3 of the way, which in my opinion is not necessarily ideal. I do like whenever the package has a full zipper that goes all the way to the bottom. So you can go inside here. There's a bunch of straps to basically keep the board inside, as well as little loops for paddles, etc. You can see this little pouch over here is where you put these little backpack straps. These clip in over here. In my opinion, these straps are okay, but it's a little bit, they kind of skimped out on the padding a little bit, especially compared to others like Jilly or Nixie, just off the top of my head. But I mean, for short distances, it's fine. And finally, one of the good things with this package is you get the wheels included. So that's probably one of the reasons why they didn't go all in with the backpack straps, just because you can just basically drag this thing to the shoreline and you're good. And then this can also be used as the handle. There's also a side handle right over here to get the board in and out of the trunk fairly easily. The bag may not necessarily be my favorite. I do like that it's lightweight and it's pretty simple. Next, we'll talk a little bit about this 3-piece paddle. This is a carbon hybrid paddle. It has a nylon blade and its length goes from 71 to 87 inches. It will fit most paddlers, I'd say. It's a good range. The paddle itself, when put together, weighs 2 pounds and it feels pretty good in the hands. It's nice and sturdy, which is something I do look for. Definitely, I'd say one of the better paddles included in the package. And I also like that there weren't any problems with this little clipping feature here. A lot of times when I get some of these boards, the clips are either too loose or they're too tight, and sometimes you can't even really fit the paddle in without a little bit of force. This one, everything worked out pretty well. One of the things I really liked as well was the handle on this. This feels really nice on the hands. This is a rubber handle. Of course, you also have the measurement as well to give you the correct measurement that you want. 5'1" all the way to 7'2".
I usually like to have it a little bit on the lower end there, but it depends on each paddler. I'm a bit taller, right? Here is the underneath of the board. So you can see the nose has a little bit of a rocker to it. I actually did like the rocker that this board had, because if it didn't, the nose would drag a lot more in the water, which would slow it down a lot actually and decrease the glide. But what I want to talk about here is the fins here. Thurso Surf has a rather unique little fin system here. It has a center fin, which is a click-in style fin, and then it has two side fins, which uses this little tool, screw tool, to install them. So I'll show you exactly how you do that here. Starting with the center fin, what you want to do is you want to align the little brass thing right in the slot, push it down, and then for this you want to use a bit of force. And then it just clicks right in. And to take it out, you just yank it out like that and then slide it out. One thing I did also want to note about the center fin is that it comes with the 3 rubber nubs. You want to take, I'd say, one of them out at least, because it's a lot harder to slide the fin into the slot whenever there's more rubber nubs. I just did the one for demonstration purposes because I only have one hand handy, but I'd recommend using 2. You could use both hands to kind of force it in and it'll just click in. But yeah, that's my recommendation. So now we go to the side fins. So the side fins, you can see the little slot. You just slide them in like so. And then you use this little key to tighten them. So you can see that it just slides right in there. You turn them. So there's one on one side and then there's... So now you can see both fins are in there, installed. Now I do recommend using these 2 side fins if you want a little bit of extra tracking. It does make a bit of a difference. You'll be able to do 1 or 2 more strokes each side, I'd say, in terms of keeping the board straight. So one of the things I will say is, while I do appreciate the quality of these fins, I'm not a big fan of the little turnkey system. It does take a little while compared to if you had like proprietary fins or even like a screw-in little fin like Nixie has over here. Not the biggest deal, obviously. I'd rather have side fins like this than not, but it is something to just keep in mind if you want something that is quick. This is not the quickest installation for fin system by any means. For quickest, I'd look at proprietary fins that just clip in. So now we'll just go through what I liked and disliked about the board. So for the Waterwalker 132, there's a lot I really liked. I thought the stability was pretty good, making it a good board for beginners, people that maybe don't have the best balance, like me for many years. I also really love the design of the board. Like, it's a beautiful looking board. I like how Thurso Surf, they kept this sort of wood-like finish at the top, but then they kind of mixed it with the blue. There's a few other shades available as well on their website. I found that the maneuverability of this board is pretty good. I was able to do 12 side paddles, which is actually one of the fewest that I've been able to reverse side paddles. One of the fewest that I've been able to do on all-around boards. So this is actually a very maneuverable board, and I do appreciate that. Its tracking is pretty decent too, especially when you have all the fins installed. Like I mentioned, these paddle holders are just awesome. Especially on an all-around board, they're very handy because if you're doing yoga or you just want to chill and you don't want the paddle to be in the way, they're great for that. Also great for carrying as well. Just put them right into the paddle holder and carry the board, and you don't even have to worry about your paddle. I also really like the 2 textured deck padding. I do like it whenever companies think about the extra grip at the back, especially for those who are a little bit more advanced and they want to do pivot turns. That extra grip goes a long way, believe me, because I've tried pivot turns on straight PVC and it doesn't usually go so well. I also do like that they have 5 rows of bungee deck webbing, 2 in the back for smaller items, 3 in the front for the larger items. I also found that the board had pretty good glide, and I think a lot of that is due to the rocker. So they've kind of blended a board that maneuvers well, has good glide, and has pretty decent tracking, which
is something you always kind of want out of an all-around board, but Thurso Surf did a pretty good job with that. I also like the carbon side rails on here, which does it. It's a bit debatable how much they really do help, but I do find, at least in my experience, that boards that don't have them are a little bit more bendy in the water. And of course, another thing I really appreciated was the inclusion of the electric pump. Anytime a paddleboard package includes an electric pump but can still be fairly affordable, like the Waterwalker 132, it's always a big bonus. And it's definitely a good swing factor in my opinion, because manual pumps kind of suck. I don't like them. Especially the single chambered ones, but with an electric pump, man, you just let it go to work while you're setting stuff up, putting stuff away. In the end, it does save time. So what could have been improved with this board? There's nothing major. I think that this is a really overall solid, stable board that most people will find a good use for, but I would say that the fin system, I do like the click-in fin system for the center fin, but the side fins, they take a little while to install. And also figuring out the fin system for the first time, especially if you have all the rubber nubs and you're trying to fit it in there, that's going to take you a little bit of time as well. So have 1 to 2 rubber nubs in the fin. I also found that the bag was good for what it is, but there are better bags out there, and I do think that it could include a bit more pockets, especially if you look at some competitors like Jilly or Nixie that have a whole bunch of different pockets right on the bag. Another thing that I sort of mentioned earlier, but I do feel that Thurso Surf could have added more action mounts. Like a lot of boards, they'll have an action mount right there, and then at the top. But this just has a camera mount, which it's nice to have. Hey, I'd rather have it than not, but if you have an action mount, you can put more things on here. Like, for example, if you're a fisherman, you can always screw in a little rod holder. Let's just say over here in the front, and then you could have a cup holder here, or just a lot of different things really. So I do feel that Thurso Surf could have just done with an action mount there instead of the whole action camera mount. Now this board comes with a 2-year warranty and a 30-day money-back guarantee. So the warranty is pretty standard with most ISUP manufacturers. It covers manufacturing defects, it doesn't cover misuse, cuts, etc. that happen from the external environment. It's strictly for manufacturing. For returns, you do have to pay the return cost on shipping as well. Just something for you to know. The warranty and the return policy are about what you'd expect for an ISUP. So I'd say it's at about, some manufacturers have like 5-year warranties, etc. Thurso Surf has 2, and I think that's pretty respectable. Is the Thurso Surf 132 a good board? Would I buy it? Yeah, absolutely. Thumbs up. It's a very well-made board. It's stiff. It's made of pretty good quality materials. Maybe it's not woven drop stitch, but a knitted drop stitch still works, which makes it a little bit heavier, but not a big deal. It has really good stability, especially for those that are starting out. It's a good board also for intermediate paddlers. The nose has enough rocker to not carry any drag in the water. When I tested it in these waters behind me here, I found that it was very good in these conditions, even in windy conditions where there's tide, etc. So overall, yeah, very good pick. All right, you had a truly life-changing day on the water on your new Thurso Surf Waterwalker 132. Now you're wondering, okay, time to pack this up. How do I do that? So first step is get out your handy dandy electric pump again. And the last time we had it in the inflate valve, you want this valve to now be on the deflate. Push it in, twist. Next, you want to release the air from here. So how you do that? You push this and then you turn. So just like this, it's gonna make some noise. So you can see the board is already losing a little bit of composition because of that, which is good. So now you want to attach this hose right to the board. And then press power. Always make sure though it's in the deflate valve. And when you do that, the board is going to be deflating. Now it's an extra step, and I never really used to do this, but I highly recommend you do it because it makes the folding process so much easier. Like you can see the board just decreasing here in air. Also make sure that your contents are out of the bag because you want to put these in last. So show you exactly how to do this. Now we're going to attempt to fold the board one-handed. You want to start at the tail here and just kind of go from there. A lot of times when the board is deflated, there are going to be fold marks already from the manufacturer's fold. So we'll just fold this up here. Once you kind of found a little bit of the groove of the folding pattern, you just want to keep going here. So going along this fold. You want to make sure that you're not folding into any of like places where there's glue, like the D-rings for example, or like action mounts. You don't want to force anything either. So we'll get to the end here, I'll show you what to do at the tail. So as soon as you get to the tail, you want to kind of fold it like this, kind of like a zigzag. So outward fold like this, and this way you are not getting in the way with the fins. You always want to be kind of careful with these. You're going to fold these in such a way where obviously you're not forcing it against the fin molds. We'll just fold that, put it in the bag. Now that the board is kind of slid into the bag, you can also just put the rest of the contents like the paddle, etc. in there, and the pouch. One of the things I do like about this Thurso Surf board is that it folds up pretty nicely and there's lots of room within the bag.
If you like these videos, feel free to like and subscribe. Very much appreciate it. And if you're looking to purchase these products or see my written review, take a look at the links in the bio. Until then, see you later.